Oh, dear God, no.
No, it's just ectoplasm from my roommate. He thought you were challenging him for supremacy. No. Well, thanks, Vincent. There goes another potential friend that you scared off.
What do you care? He wasn't going to play Cluedo with us anyway.
Gang, I think we've got a mystery on our hands. Just a minute. Hello? Ooh! Scooby-Doo? Heck yeah! I think everyone loves Scooby-Doo.
I hate Scooby-Doo. I hate the cartoons. I hate the live version. I hate it all.
Am I the only one to hate Scooby-Doo?
But I have always hated Scooby-Doo. It bored me. Am I not human?
Okay, so I think almost everyone loves Scooby-Doo. And why not? Scooby-Doo is for everybody.
And it wasn't gender specific. It wasn't a boy's cartoon or a girl's cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean? There wasn't anything cooler than that.
Plus, it has loads of ghosties and monsters. Developed in the late 60s by Hanna-Barbera Studios, Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Incorporated gang have been solving weird crimes for longer than the average person has been alive.
And I said, we'll take that dog, we'll move him center stage, make him the star of the show, and call the show Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
And the rest is history.
And in 2002, the big screen was touched by the hands of director Raja Gosnell.
It's very thrilling. I'm incredibly lucky to be involved in this project. Very excited about it.
Who I can't say much about, to be honest.
Oh dear God.
He's the man who directed the Smurf movies.
Whoa, yeah, that cools the giblets.
Yeah, mega blemish right there. But he was an assistant editor on the Popeye movie.
What am I? I'm Popeye, the sailor.
It's about the small victories sometimes.
And at least Scooby-Doo is a funny movie. It's satirical, it's sardonic, it's witty and dry at the same time.
Oh, we don't go near any place with spooky, haunted, forbidden, or creepy in the name.
Well, hydrochloric?
Right, or hydroclonic, but that's for a whole different reason, man.
Plainly said, friends, the dialogue is great.
Aha! You want me to go up to that castle.
Didn't you just say what I said?
But you're scary. And you knew I'd do the opposite of what you said.
This is with the human characters, of course. Scooby is funny in other ways.
Ray! That's me!
And also painfully unfunny in others. The story picks up right as the gang is about to capture a spooky ghost in a toy factory, which leads to Fred hogging all the glory when news reporters show up.
Fred, what's the secret of your success? Teamwork. I do a tremendous amount of teamwork, and I always have a plan.
This causes a fracture in the group dynamic, each dissatisfied with how the status quo goes. Well, not Shaggy.
But it seems to me we all play an important part in this group.
And this fracture is caused mostly because Fred is a dick in the movie.
It's not our fault you always get kidnapped.
I do not always get kidnapped.
On the topic of characters, the classic characters got updated. Sort of. The aforementioned Fred Jones, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., probably underwent the biggest change.
Fred's a difficult role to play. It is. In our version of Scooby-Doo, Fred is the butt of several jokes.
Where Freddy was originally, and no offense to Frank Welker, kinda just the blandest of bland guys.
Look, gang, a door!
I wonder where it leads.
We'll never know.
A guy who probably has oatmeal for blood.
I would have to describe Fred as being the guy in the group who has a license.
But in the movie, Fred got properly pumped full of personality. Even though that personality is that of a narcissistic seeker of fame and glory.
Fred on Fred, the many faces of me.
This is how you self-deprecate. This is how you change it up. Same goes for Daphne, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I'm so over this damsel in distress nonsense.
She is a fashionista with pride and a headstrong but stubborn attitude, with a determination to not simply be a damsel in distress.
If anyone messes with me, I'll just open a can of 2,000-year-old Chinese whoop ass. Because the Daphne of the past is a two-dimensional cartoon character, and now you're taking her into a three-dimensional feature film.
Wow, 2 out of 5 characters are great so far. Wonder how the rest will fare. Spoiler alert. I already know the answer to that. Velma, portrayed by Linda Cardellini, is the same super genius nerdy gal she always was.
These balloons fill with a highly potent helium synthesis. What are you frightened of? It was only a silent movie. Well, if the movie was silent, why can't you be?
But now she sort of feels overlooked by her friends.
Typical.
What?
Oh, nothing. I was always picked last for the teams.
I mean, okay, that's fine-ish character depth. Everyone wants to be acknowledged for their work, after all. Although I don't think I ever got that vibe from her from the cartoons.
She looked back at me with that freckled face full of love, sighed, and said, "I'm sorry, Johnny, but my career comes first.
And lastly, Shaggy, played by Matthew Lillard, is just, well, he's Shaggy.
But I say, you don't need to know what voulez-vous coucher avec moi means to love that song!
And that's not meant to be a dig at Matthew Lillard.
You ask a random kid, I look like Tom Selleck, I look like, Tom Cruise, I look like Shaggy.
What kind of performance do you call that? You made me sound like a total space cadet, man!
I'm sorry you feel that way. I was trying to be real to your character.
Same kinda goes for Scooby, which feels sort of weird to say. I mean, on the one hand, it can kinda be like, oh yeah, they're exactly like they are in the cartoons.
Because castles have paintings with eyes that watch you, and suits armor you think's a statue, but there's a guy inside who follows you every time you turn around.
And on the other,
they're exactly like they are in the cartoons.
And that could mean anything. I mean, Daphne and Fred have such interesting character to them and are played so freaking well that it might just be an unfair comparison.
Such a compliment.
I just wish everyone got some really cool development. And don't tell me Shaggy kinda getting a girlfriend is character development. Everyone knows Googie was Shaggy's best girlfriend.
Back to the actual review.
Our heroes have their inevitable falling out, but end up pseudo-reuniting almost instantly through the actions of Emil Mondavarius, played by Rowan Atkinson, who lures the gang to Spooky Island in order to solve a strange mystery taking place there.
Now listen and look around. Can you notice any difference between those arriving and those departing?
They look like sober, well-behaved college kids.
Precisely.
Meanwhile, further weirdness occurs involving a shaman, a Mexican masked wrestler, and a brainwashing facility, all leading to a gaggle of spooky rabbit creatures overrunning the island. Together, the gang unravel the truth of what is plaguing Spooky Island, all whilst learning and growing from their past experiences and histories, rediscovering what made them such a great team to begin with. Story was handled by Craig Titley and James Gunn. Yes, that James Gunn.
Well, I think for me the big breakthrough in finding out where I wanted to go with Scooby-Doo was making the choice to make the monsters real.
Which kinda makes sense looking at the tone and the dialogue.
Man, we got beats like it was the Lizness on Earth. You know what I'm saying, G?
But that does make me want to bring up the whole age rating thing regarding Scooby-Doo. The movie was originally drafted to be for a slightly older audience, hence the ever so slightly lewd jokes.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
It was, however, trimmed back to be more family-friendly. Heck, James Gunn has even stated that there was an R-rated cut of the movie once upon a time. But turns out there's still a whole bunch of weed jokes in the movie that I didn't quite catch up on until embarrassingly late in life.
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I gotta talk style.
The good news.
Every set, every physical prop, every costume, the theme park, the hotel, all of it is absolutely phenomenal. It was so freaking smart to set the movie in such a fun and spooky location.
And the bad news.
Now the monster CG has aged like fucking spilt milk in the sun.
Nice mask. Bad breath.
These are Malbolgia spawn levels of bad. Shiny, rubbery, floaty, just overall not that great.
I will crush your bones into dust!
And now to Scooby, who's, well, he's just okay.
Okay.
At times it feels like he's almost falling off of the screen, and not in a good and believable way. But other times, especially when there are no humans too close in the shot, he looks perfectly adequate. His design, though, is great. His traditional cartoon look is nicely translated to a realistic 3D version. Plus, I do feel bad for these visual effects artists who worked on it. I mean, you can hear in this guy's voice how murderous of a task this was.
We have to bring Scooby to life. It's not like it's a matter of just putting a dog on the screen with fur and eyes and ears. It's the way they move.
Like, I don't think people understand how hard it actually is making a fucking talking dog, like a massive talking dog, and it would be nice to get some fucking respect. That's all I'm saying. Still, I think people were too harsh on this movie. Even me with some of the things in this review. I mean, come on. It's just Scooby-Doo. It's fine, it's funny, and I really like it. Oh, hey, Vincent, I was just wrapping up.
You spent over 10 minutes talking about live-action Scooby-Doo, and not once did you mention Vincent Von Ghoul as your favorite Scooby-Doo character. For shame, Be Normal. For shame.
Well, Vincent.